Okay, Georgia losing another disappointing game to Alabama, this time as a 6.5 point favorite entering the game. A game that, was puzzling to see the first quarter and then watch the last three. Um, you know, there's a lot to discuss here. Mainly that, Kirby's going to have to figure out how to get a win over Alabama. He's got the players. He's got the depth. He's got everything as fingertips at Georgia, and he's just not gotten past Nick, and that's not going to work. I mean, he's hired at Georgia to win the national championship, and you know, winning the game tonight wouldn't have gotten you that, but it would have eliminated Alabama. It looks like. So it depends on who you talk to. I think there was a lot of negativity out and about tonight with good reason. Um, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's already been discussed on Riding Home. I think a lot of people here watch that. I would encourage everyone to go over to the website, dogpost.com. You can get 2 months of Dog Post right now for $2. It's going to get you through the playoff. And I mean, I'm recording this right now. I don't know where Georgia's headed. It seems almost certain that they're going to play Michigan. I don't know if they're going to. I mean, we don't know who number one is going to be, but I think probably is going to be Michigan. So Georgia will maybe go to number four. I don't know. I don't know. They're not going to play Alabama and Georgia against one another. That much is pretty certain. But um, that's what it looks like to me. But you know, you're going to have to beat Alabama to win the national championship. I mean, that's kind of what it's been these last however many seasons. I mean, you look back a season ago, nobody beat them. They won a national championship. 19, LSU beat them. 18, Clemson beat them. 17, I mean, they lost a game to Auburn, but they didn't. It wasn't the wrong game. So then they beat Georgia for the national championship. 16, Clemson beat them. 15, they won it. 14, Ohio State won the national championship by beating Alabama. 13, Auburn. 12, they lost to Texas A&M, but it didn't matter. I mean, Nick Saban's he's got the best, he's the best coach in college football history, and he's done a hell of a job of losing the right game and winning the right game. And tonight, there's a lot of different ways to look at this thing. The question is, did Georgia lose the right game? Well, we won't know that if they only know that if they win the national championship. And it's amazing to still talk like that after they got beat pretty decisively on the scoreboard. Although I have to say, it, Alabama could have put that game away several different times, and they just didn't in the second half until kind of the clock ran out. But Georgia had momentum in the second half. They had momentum in the fourth quarter, but they just couldn't get away from the mistakes. I mean, Stetson Bennett's got to play better in taking care of the football. This tonight was not. That's not Stetson's. That's not how he plays well. And you can't ask him to throw 40 balls. You can very rarely ask Tom Brady to throw 40 balls, and he's not Tom Brady. So I'm not suggesting what my opinion would be, but I don't think that Kirby will make a move at quarterback in terms of the starting quarterback. Maybe they play JT Moore. I doubt that. I think he's decided that Stetson is the guy for him, and that's what he's going to go with. And this team is 2 wins away from winning the national championship. The problem is one of those wins is going to have to probably come against Alabama, a team that, to me, Georgia's better than. But they sure weren't better than, tonight in Atlanta. And, when you get control of a game the way they had it, you're up 10-0, then you're up 10-7, all this stuff. I think people make it too much. They make it more than it really is. This is just a football game. Alabama is superb and that's great and everything, but I mean, you know, they lost to Texas A&M. They just survived Auburn. They played not well against LSU. This was the best game they played this season. And I mean, maybe they played against Mississippi State better, but I just I think to some degree, I mean, Georgia did not play well tonight. Was that because of Georgia or because of Alabama? I mean, a lot of it was Alabama in the matchups. Now, you don't have Meacham in this game in the future because he's got a torn ACL. That changes things not insignificantly. And that's a big deal, and that's going to hurt Alabama for sure. But then by then, you could have Robinson be healthy. So there's no shortage of negativity that's out there. And at the end of the day, they've got to play better. And Kurt, we added it up. They had 5 losses in 16. They had 2 losses in 17. That's 7. In 18, they had 3, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 10. 19, they had 2. And then last year they had 2, and now they have 1. My real rough math there is that it's 15, right? I mean, so 15 losses over time, that's not a lot of losses for Kirby Smart. And but the problem is that 4 of the losses um, have come to Nick Saban. And tonight's wasn't inexplicable like two the first two, but Georgia had a lead in this game, not in the second half, and there was no quarterback that came in. I mean, this is probably the I think maybe last year was the most solid win for Alabama over Georgia, but this was one of those games where Georgia could have controlled this game and they did not do it. And I think part of that was because of Alabama's explosion on offense for sure. But the Georgia defense did not play well. Bennett did not play well. You cannot have a pick six. You cannot have a turnover inside, the red zone basically. And there were just too many mistakes and plays made by Alabama too. But tonight Alabama deserved to win, and I think people need to say that. I mean, complain about officials and stuff like that. The better team tonight won. The question is, moving forward here, what is Georgia going to do to get themselves to where they are playing like they're the better team, not just it's evident that they're the better team coming in. Okay, so that's what I think we'll all be watching. You're coming into finals at Georgia. The football schedule for practice will be kind of um, jumpy a little bit. They'll figure all of that out. We don't know where they're going as of the time I'm recording this, so there's still a lot to learn, but it's time, and this team is capable. It is more than capable of winning a national championship with Stetson as the starting quarterback. But they cannot play this game tonight and expect to win it. Okay, they cannot. They if they played like tonight against Cincinnati or Michigan, they would lose, or they would be in a real dogfight. Okay, they have got to play to their strengths. I use tennis analogies a lot. I use basketball analogies a lot because I know those sports. I played them in college. Okay, you cannot really expect to hit backhands all day long and win a tennis match. Okay, that's not what you want to do. Tonight, Georgia, way too many backhands. So you want to get into your game. You want a very powerful serve. You want to have your forehand. That's what you want. Tonight, there was way too much trying to do something that is not Georgia's strength because of the way that Alabama played. Now, do you pressure Bryce Young more? Do you, in the next game, if there is a next game? Do you is that how you go about attacking it? Because the truth of the matter is that Georgia's not going anywhere. They've proven that. Alabama's not going anywhere. That seems pretty evident to me. Uh, and these two are going to play one another a lot in the near future. Just in Atlanta, all these games are going to be big games and all this stuff. And there's a lot of chest thumping tonight from the Alabama folks. But I know back in the recesses of their brains, they realize they're probably going to have to beat Georgia one more time. And did they play the best game of their season and they're ascending, or did they play the best game of their season and that's the best game of their season? And would their second best game of the season be enough to beat the Dogs? I don't know. But the the most important practice of this season is the first practice Georgia has after this Alabama game, and it's going to be up to whoever that person is on the team to decide to be great. And everybody talks about adversity and everybody talks about next man up. Well, Hello adversity. Hello next man up. It's time. And the criticism of Kirby, this nights like tonight. I mean, that's it. He has done an excellent, superb, everything job. But you know, he's not won the national championship, and he's not beaten Alabama. And those two things have gone hand in hand over this last decade. And if Georgia and Kirby want to get to where they want to go, Alabama's in the way. They're always going to be in the way. You're going to have to beat them. But I would say this: don't make it more than what it is. It is still a football game. They have good players. They have superb players. They probably have the Heisman Trophy winner on their team. But don't make it more than what it is. It is just a football game. And, that's it. I think that Georgia fans far too often figure out how to be as negative as possible. It's just, on a night like tonight, it's easy to be that way. But I don't think anything's going to change. Maybe I'm being naive. I think that it will be Stetson Bennett as your quarterback. He's won a lot of big games at Georgia. He just has not beaten Alabama. Join the club. So, um, but it's time. And the most important practice is the first one after this Alabama game. They're going to have to get themselves pointed in the right direction. And the fact of the matter is, there's one of three scenarios has happened. They go to the first bowl game and lose, they go to the championship game and lose, or they go to the championship game and win. Only one of those scenarios will make this a successful season in the eyes of basically everybody that watches. And if they do not win the national championship, the only two things that you will hear about until they do is that is that Kirby Smart has a problem with quarterbacks and that Georgia can't win the national championship. Both of those things can be eradicated for the most part with a win in the national championship this season. But it's time. I mean, we're 6 years into this. Everything's been, that's been asked for has basically been given. It took a little, adjusting at the start, but Georgia's got everything. They've got all the players, and it's time. That's it. We'll see you over on the website.